All right, my friends, we are here in another edition, special edition of Political Point Magazine. That's right. Okay. And so, we shall get this show on the road in just a moment. Right now. Yes. All right. All right. Now, here we go, my friends. You are watching Political Point Magazine. Yes. Where the right is right and the left, well, the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because political minds want to know. So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. With tonight's top stories. Yes. Well, what's the strategy on ISIS, Mr. President? Well, Obama talks to the press about airstrikes on ISIS before he talks to his security team. Wow, this is quite amazing here. And also, ISIS is now a bigger threat to the USA, considering now that Americans have joined ISIS. You will be surprised at this report. And also, tough times for Governor Andrew Cuomo, as the key word here is corruption, and his Moreland Commission has been short-lived. And he broke his promise on fighting corruption in Albany and in New York. And also, how's the economy on this Labor Day? We will talk about that. And let's talk about Burger King's latest move to help them out in this economy. Yes, we will talk about all that and more tonight with me, your humble host, William Mitro. That's right, my friends. Yep. And welcome to another edition of Political Point Magazine. And tonight is a special edition, my friends. All right. We won't be taking any calls tonight, but because it's Labor Day, and we have a special edition tonight for you. But anyhow, getting on to our latest in a series of things that have been popping up in the news tonight, and in last week and stuff. Well, President Obama never ceases to amaze me in things and in situations, considering now how the situation in Iraq and in Syria now has gotten quite dire in things that have become here. Now, recently, last week, I spoke about how the ISIS savages have beheaded an American journalist um, James Foley, and they have held another journalist hostage, and they are demanding actually ransom for her. So so now the situation gets dire, and thing with things here. All right, as we learn now, that this is what the president said, just Thursday, about the threat here. Take a look at take a look at this. Okay, but we ask the question now. What is the strategy, Mr. President, on on Iraq and on ISIS? Okay, take a look at this. Okay, what is the strategy? This is what President Obama said just recently here. Okay, all right.
Want to put the cart before the horse. We don't have a strategy yet. I think what I've seen in some of the news reports suggests that folks are getting a little further ahead of where we're at than we currently are. And I think that's not just my assessment, but the assessment of our military as well. There's no point in me asking for action on the part of Congress before I know exactly what it is that is going to be required for us to get the job done.
Really? Did you hear that? The president said that he doesn't have a strategy yet. He doesn't have a strategy. This is an amateur. The president is an amateur. All right? Now, he didn't have any real political experience to be president to begin with. All right? Although he was senator for less than a term in office before he ran for president. Okay? But less than half a term as senator he spent running for president, as if being on the campaign trail was a qualification for being president. And here he's now he's president, and he says to the press and to the world, okay, mind you, that we don't have a strategy. We don't have a strategy. This is only fueling the fire now for our enemies. More specifically, ISIS. Oh my gosh, the president doesn't have a strategy? Oh my gosh. Had this been a President Bush or a Republican president at the helm, and we had the development of ISIS now, all right? Had this been a Republican president and had a Republican president said this, all right? The media would be all over it, all right? But where's the outrageous voices from the left? Okay, where is the liberals on this? Okay, the president says he doesn't have a strategy on the airstrikes on ISIS in Syria. All right, and now the president is just so. And now we have a very vicious enemy on our hands. His own defense secretary even said that ISIS is a bigger threat than Al Qaeda. A bigger threat. Okay, we now have this situation. ISIS is a bigger threat now to the USA. Okay, ISIS is now a bigger threat now, and now but see, ISIS now is a bigger threat now. When you consider what the president just said now, he says we have no strategy yet. Okay, we have no strategy yet. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is like just getting your this is like just getting your training pants. All right. You've graduated out of diapers, but you don't know how to use them. You don't know how to use them. Oh my gosh. The president says, "We don't have a strategy yet." Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Can you imagine announcing that you don't have a strategy to fight your enemies overseas? And you announce it to the press of all people, which, by the way, the press is now our outlook of information to the world. All right. To the world. You just announced to the world that this is that your plan, mind you, this is the guy that stood up there and when talking about possibly going into Syria and attacking Syria over because Assad used weapons of mass destruction on his own people. All right. You all remember this media rail here. Take a look.
It's not a question of when Assad leaves, or if Assad leaves. It's a question of when. Assad will leave power. It's not a question of if, but when.
I am confident that Assad's days are numbered.
I think Assad must go, and I believe he will go.
I don't think there's a situation where we have to choose between Assad or the kinds of people who carry on the incredible violence that we've been seeing there. I don't see any scenario in which Assad somehow is able to bring peace and stability.
Really? Now, this is the guy that threatened that we could possibly go to war with Syria over weapons of mass destruction that Saddam used on his own people. Okay, but we didn't go to war. Okay, because mind you, when the president announced that, he didn't have a strategy back then either. All right, and lo and behold, we have ISIS now, which now we don't even have a strategy to combat ISIS in Iraq either. All right, so the president goes up to the press and announces, just literally announces, that we have no strategy. No strategy. Oh my gosh. Mark the stars. Okay. This is just another recognition of Obama's failed foreign policy. All right. Now, when the president gets up there and just announces, "Oh, we have no strategy." No strategy. Oh, it's just quite laughable. Okay. We have the world's most amateur president. Most amateur president. Okay. Most amateur president. And in the New York Times also as well. Okay. In the New York Times. Okay. When the New York Times comments on stuff like this, all right, we take light of this. We take light of this because the New York Times is also a very liberal paper. Okay. Very, very, very liberal indeed. All right. But when the New York Times comes out with stuff like this, all right.
What could be another costly?
Okay, what? Okay, when the New York Times comes out with stuff like this, all right, and I'll put it up on the screen. I'll put it up on the screen here. All right. Okay. Okay, this, mind you, just like this. Okay, this is what the New York Times editorialized. Okay, and it says here, militant military commitment if Mr. Obama. Oh wait, no. Okay, it says there are too many unanswered questions to make that decision now, and there has been far too little public discussion over for Mr. Obama to expect Americans to rally behind what could be another costly military oh whoops, hold up a second, sorry about that. Okay, but another costly military commitment if Mr. Obama seeks any further escalation of military action. He will have to explain how airstrikes against ISIS in Syria fit into a broader strategy, how they could be successful. So this, my friends, we have an amateur president who literally announces we have no strategy for combating this bigger threat enemy, ISIS, bigger than Al Qaeda. I mean, it's like, how are these people? How is this group getting funded? Okay, and now Secretary Hagel even said that this is a bigger operation than Al Qaeda, a bigger threat than Al Qaeda. And the threat is imminent. Okay, to America. When you possibly consider now, okay, that this is a bigger threat now, because of the fact that now we have just learned that Americans have joined ISIS. That's right, my friends. Americans have joined ISIS. All right. More specifically, this guy right here. Okay. This guy right here. He's from Minnesota. All right. But this guy, his name is, get this, Douglas MacArthur McCain. All right. Douglas MacArthur McCain died on the battlefield fighting alongside ISIS. Fighting for ISIS in Syria. All right. But Douglas MacArthur McCain. All right. This guy, he's originally from Minnesota. All right. But this guy, okay, Douglas, he is a U.S. citizen whose name echoes that of a great American general who betrayed his country by fighting for the bloodthirsty ISIS terrorists. Okay, Douglas McCarthy McCain paid for his treason when he died in combat with Syrian rebels. It was released on Tuesday. Okay, that this guy did this, but this guy is just ludicrous. I mean, this is a picture of MacArthur. Okay, but by what this guy did. Okay, but by what this guy did, it just goes to show you that he just betrayed his country. Okay, this guy betrayed his country. Okay, now, but he'll return to his country in a body bag. Okay, an American traitor whose name is the only thing he had in common with one of America's greatest generals, was killed in Syria, okay, while fighting alongside the barbaric Islamic State terrorist group ISIS. Okay, now Douglas MacArthur McCain, whose actions, okay, now this guy is a disgrace. Okay, and now we also find out that that not only he died in Syria, but there's another guy. Okay, but there's another guy that we have, but there's another guy that we have recently that was recently reported to be yeah. But there was another guy. All right. And there's another guy who also was from Chicago, who died fighting alongside ISIS in Syria. All right. So but this goes to the other broader question of what the bigger threat to Americans and America is. All right, we learn now that not only these two, the Arthur, but Douglas MacArthur McCain and this other guy who was killed in Syria fighting alongside ISIS. Okay, we also learn that that there are about 300 Americans that have joined the cause. That have joined the cause and fight and are fighting with ISIS that joined the jihad. So this this poses the bigger broader question of how threatening it is to us. All right, with some Americans joining this terrorist group. Okay, with some Americans joining this terror group. All right, it just hits close to home that that we now would face a terror threat here at home. All right, and so as the world turns, my friends, okay, ISIS, this group is just so threatening, and it's building up its base and recruiting Americans. Now, Americans have joined the cause. Right? Americans have joined the cause. Right? And it is just so widespread now. All right? So widespread. All right? But oh, here's a shot of the other guy. Okay? Here's a shot of the other guy right there.
Source is Abdi Rahman Mohammed.
Abdi Rahman Mohammed. Okay. Abdi Rahman Mohammed. Okay. That's the guy. Okay. But I just want to get another shot of him. All right. And he's right here. Okay. But this is the guy. Abdi Rahman Mohammed. All right, is the guy. Is the second American. He's from Chicago. All right. And so it's spreading, my friends. And this could create homegrown ISIS operations here in America, and then we could have another attack on U.S. soil. So my friends, it's getting broader, it's getting deeper. All right, and you have the president saying that he has no strategy to combat these guys. All right, he has no strategy. All right, oh my goodness. All right, it's just ridiculous. We have a president that doesn't know how to fight terrorism, much like how Clinton failed to combat terrorism, and you know, thus Clinton's failure to actually take it to the terrorists led to the 9/11 attacks on U.S. soil. So by our own president now, Barack Obama, admitting that he has no strategy. We have no strategy to combat these guys. And now, knowing that we have some Americans that have joined the cause and fighting for ISIS. Now, this is a bigger threat here at home. And we now have to put up our defenses. Okay, the president now has lowered our defenses and made us more vulnerable to another attack. All right, he's made us more vulnerable. And this, my friends, and this also coming from another the one of the defense cabinets.
It's about ISIS.
It's increased over the last 6 months. We've seen an increase in the use of Western passports.
Based.
Yes, really. So it's a bigger threat now. These two, you know, but these two, Abdi Rahman Mohammed and Douglas MacArthur McCain. All right. It's all coming to us now. It's all coming to us, you know.
Passport and body.
But these two now, and ISIS is getting bigger in their recruitment, and you know, we just have to rethink our strategy now. Okay, the president says he has no strategy, and you know, and now we have a bigger movement, bigger than Al Qaeda, and my friends, and the situation is getting dire. All right, what is to become now? All right, what is to become here? And if we can't defeat this threat, okay, and if we can't prevent another attack on U.S. soil because of failed actions by this president, then, my friends, we are in serious trouble. We are in serious trouble here. Okay, we don't know how to combat these people, and our president is leading us, leading from behind. Actually, he's not even leading. Okay, he hasn't even thought about his strategy. He hasn't even thought through his strategy. All right. And it's getting more dire from the day here. All right. It's getting more dire from the day. And you know, so my advice to the president, okay? My advice to the president here, okay, is when you go to when you go to the conference room with your defense team.
Of the month when he was weighing.
Now, when you go to your conference room with your defense team, all right, and you're and and you try to talk up strategy. Make sure you have a strategy before you announce announce to the press and to the world, mind you, that you have no strategy. All right. You know, he did that all backwards, by the way. He did that all backwards. All right. He went to the press and announced that he had no strategy. And then he went to meet with his strategy team, okay, to talk about strategy. All right, he did that all backwards. This is a backwards president. Our whole foreign policy is backwards. Okay, our whole foreign policy now is backwards, and when you have the New York Times even saying, okay, when you have the New York Times even saying, and in its editorial board, there are too many unanswered questions to make that decision now, and there has been far too little public discussion for Mr. Obama to expect Americans to rally behind what could be another costly military commitment. Okay, yeah. All right. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with an amateur president here. All right. And who doesn't know how to combat this. And even when you have the very liberal New York Times, okay, even the very liberal New York Times editorial board, even criticizing Obama, This, my friends, is just downright. Okay, downright disastrous. Okay, it's downright disastrous. Okay, mind you, I don't trust Obama now. I mean, because he has said so many lies. He has said so many lies. It's just not even funny. All right, and you can't even trust the Obama government. Okay, you can't even trust the Obama government. All right, and you know, mind you, this is the guy that has said so many lies. Like these three are the big major lies. All right, take a look. All right, okay, now yeah, but for example, okay, these right here, okay.
If you like your plan and you like your doctor, you won't have to do a thing. You keep your plan. You keep your doctor. Now that Congress has left, somebody's going to be vacuuming and cleaning those floors and throwing out the garbage. They're going to have less pay. The day after it happened, I acknowledged that this was an act of terrorism.
Yeah, sure. So, Mr. President, you have lied to the American people multiple times, okay? Deceived the American people multiple times. And you have put us on the defensive in combating terrorism, all right? And you have put us in a position where we are defenseless, and then you go out there and announce that we have no strategy. We have no strategy yet. We have no strategy yet. Really. Really. And so then we have Americans like Douglas MacArthur McCain, who died fighting for ISIS in Syria. All right. Fighting for ISIS in Syria. All right. This, my friends, is quite interesting. All right. I mean, it's just weird. Okay. Now, all right. And so, but now on another note here, okay, we move on now to tough times for Governor Cuomo. That's right. Okay, whoops. No, sorry about that. Okay, but tough times for Governor Cuomo. Okay. Now, he cannot hide behind that smile. Okay, mind you. But Governor Cuomo now has come under fire. He's up for re-election this year. All right. But it appears now that you remember that he ran for office to crack down on corruption. All right. To crack down on corruption, right? All right. And so Governor Cuomo forms this commission to investigate public corruption. All right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now. Okay. Now, Governor Andrew M. Cuomo set up a high-powered commission last summer to root out corruption in state politics. All right. It was barely 2 months old when its investigators hunted for violations of campaign finance laws, issued a subpoena to a media buying firm that had placed millions of dollars worth of advertisements for the New York State Democratic Party. All right. Now, the investigators did not realize that the firm buying time also counted Mr. Cuomo among its clients. All right. Having bought the airtime for his campaign when he ran for governor in 2010. All right. Now, word that the subpoena had been served quickly reached Mr. Cuomo's most senior aide, Lawrence S. Schwartz. He called one of the commission's 3 co-chairs, William J. Fitzpatrick, the district attorney in Syracuse. All right. Now, this is wrong, Schwartz said. Okay, according to Mr. Fitzpatrick, whose account was corroborated by 3 other people told about the call at the time. Now, he said the firm worked for the governor and issued a simple directive: pull it back. Okay, the subpoena was swiftly withdrawn. That the panel's chief investigator explained why in an email to the 2 other co-chairs later that afternoon. Okay, they apparently produced ads for the governor, she wrote. Okay, the pulled back subpoena was the most flagrant example of how the commission, established with great ceremony by Mr. Cuomo, by Governor Cuomo, in July of 2013, was hobbled almost from the outset by demands from the governor. All right. Now here it reads that the Moreland Act, which was the commission, the Moreland Commission, now Section C6 of the Executive Law, formerly Section 7, 1907 to 1909, and Section 8, 1909 to 1951, authorizes the governor, either in person or by one or more persons appointed by him, for the purpose to examine and investigate the management and affairs of any department, board, bureau, or commission of the state. Investigators were empowered to subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, hold hearings, and subpoena any books or papers deemed relevant or material. Moreland Act commissions derive their power from that act and from Executive Law Section 63.8. All right. So now, now while the governor now maintains he had every right to monitor and direct the work of a commission he had created, many commissioners and investigators saw the demands as politically motivated interference that hamstrung an undertaking that the governor had politically vowed would be independent. The commission developed a list of promising targets, including a lawmaker suspected of using campaign funds to support a girlfriend in another state and pay tanning salon bills. The panel also highlighted activities that it saw as politically odious but perfectly legal, like exploiting a loophole to bundle enormous campaign contributions. But a 3-month examination by the New York Times found that the governor's office deeply compromised the panel's work, objecting whenever the commission focused on groups with ties to the governor or on issues that might reflect poorly on the governor. So whenever the commission found something, so this is quite interesting. So Governor Cuomo hobbled the corruption commission. All right. In this note here, in this report, whenever the commission found things that would be in the governor's alley, or in the governor's jurisdiction, then Governor Cuomo would try to obstruct it or block it or say it had no relevance or to anything. Now let's take a look at the commission itself here. All right. Now New York State government had always seen its share of scandal, but it had become nearly synonymous with corruption when Governor Cuomo was elected in 2010, promising to restore integrity to Albany. But by early 2013, okay, the parade of handcuffed officials had not subsided. Okay, in little more than a month, 3 state legislators were arrested on federal charges. One of them was accused of trying to bribe his way onto the New York City mayoral ballot, and another had sold legislation for cash. Okay. Now, on July 2nd, 2013, Governor Cuomo took a seat at a long table in the stately red room adjoining his private office on the General Eric T. Schneiderman and district attorneys on the second floor of the Capitol building. Okay, with him was Attorney General Eric T. Schneiderman and district attorneys from across the state. Okay, now Mr. Cuomo said the rash of scandal had shaken the public's confidence. Really? Okay, and he announced he was creating a formidable new commission investing with subpoena power and giving it until the end of 2014 to crack down on public corruption as never before. Okay. Now, it was called the Moreland Commission after a 1907 law that governors had long used to create panels to investigate wrongdoing and recommend legislative improvements. Okay, the people. Okay, and this is what Governor Cuomo said upon creating this commission. Okay, the people of this state should sleep better tonight. Oh, really? Okay. Now, three people would lead the panel, formally named the commission to investigate public corruption. The governor selected two the affable and blunt-spoken Mr. Fitzpatrick, the longtime district attorney of Onondaga County, and a Republican, and Kathleen M. Reese of Nisswa County, district attorney, and a Democrat. Okay, so Fitzpatrick, a Republican, and Kathleen M. Rice, a Democrat. So he appointed these two on the commission. All right, and now, this was Governor Cuomo's statement when he appointed these two. All right, he says, "I believe with the credibility of this commission, you can go a long way towards restoring the public trust." Okay, the members included prosecutors, professors, and lawyers, some with close ties to the governor. Okay, yet Mr. Fitzpatrick, seated to the left of Governor Cuomo, said the commission could proceed freely even if the governor's own fundraising came under scrutiny. Okay, so, all right, and this is what Mr. Fitzpatrick said. Okay, he's not looking for a rubber stamps. He's looking for an independent commission, and will do what Deep Throat told Bob Woodward to do. All right, now, all right, so and now herein lies the resistance from above. All right, now here it is. Okay, now being hired by the commission, one young investigator said he had all the makings of a dream job. Okay, the investigators set up shop in an office building in Lower Manhattan. Now, in their crosshairs from the outset were the pots of money from that had long spawned scandals in the legislature, campaign donations, and spending. The easy to abuse expense reimbursements known as paradigm payments, and the outside income that some lawmakers earned in lucrative part-time jobs, often at law firms representing clients with business before the state. Okay, now a consulting firm called K2 Intelligence was hired to search databases for donations linked to the passage of legislation or to the awarding of state contracts. All right, now, okay, so this was all in there. Okay, but as investigators asked questions, they found themselves inquiring about matters related to the governor's supporters, and this led to confrontations between Miss Perry and the commission's chief investigator, and a Miss Calcaterra, its executive director. Okay, while Miss Perry was a senior prosecutor who had handled one of the nation's largest immigration fraud cases and a huge disability fraud case, she was a newcomer to politics. Miss Calcaterra, by contrast, had spent years in and out of government and democratic politics, and ran for the state senate herself in 2010 before being disqualified because of a residency requirement. Yep. But anyhow, all right, there were squabbles amongst the directors of this commission and stuff, and then all of a sudden when they investigated into a firm that had close ties to the governor, then shortly after that, the governor shut down the commission. So here's the big double standard here. All right, the governor openly said that they could operate even if it was in his own office. All right, but then once they investigated in his own office, then he obstructed and shut it down. So here's the big corruption with the governor. Okay, Governor Cuomo, which now his career is on the line now. All right, because of this, and the New York Times even now has issued a statement here. Let me take you to this statement here from the New York Times here. All right, the New York Times right here. All right, this is their statement right here. All right, okay, their statement is the state government remains as subservient to big money as ever, and Mr. Cuomo resisted and even shut down opportunities to fix it because he broke his most important promise. We have decided not to make an endorsement for the Democratic primary on September 9th. Wow. Ooh. So that just goes to show you. All right. Now, all right, that the governor's in trouble. All right. The New York Times, very liberal paper, will not endorse him, will not put out an endorsement of him because of this scandal here. And now, I think it's time to vote Republican. All right. I think it's time for a Republican governor of New York. All right. But on that note, now we shift powers here now, and let's talk now of the economy. Okay. So let's talk about the economy. President Obama touts the economy and how fast it's growing now, but there is a problem there. Okay, the labor force participation rate is still the lowest it's been in decades, and we have over half the country now is on welfare, and jobs now are leaving America. In fact, the latest move from Burger King they have bought Tim Horton, right? And they have moved their corporate branch to Canada. And some see this as a move to avoid taxes. All right. But on the other hand, okay, the corporate taxes in Canada is 15%. You're paying 35% corporate tax here in America. So Burger King is actually generating more money from this move. All right. And I don't blame them. All right. And now this takes me to the last words of the night. All right. Okay. Now, you all remember Al Sharpton, right? Okay. Well, Al Sharpton, okay, he's looking a little thin. Okay. He has lost a lot of weight, but yet he has criticized fat people. He has criticized fat people. Okay. He is quoted as saying, "Every fine girl is two big whoppers away from being obese." Okay. He is also quoted as saying, "Talk about the resurrection. You getting ready to have a crucifix if you eat them jelly beans." All right. And then he's also quoted as saying, "I know how to make you jog. All I got to do is just put a fried chicken sandwich right here and you'll run as far as I got that chicken sandwich." All right. Now, that's quite ridiculous. Considering okay, this is what Al Sharpton looks like now, but you remember what he used to look like? Oh yeah, look at that. This is what he used to look like. Oh My goodness. All right. And that is the last words of the night, my friends. Okay. We thank you for watching Political Point, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history. All righty. All right. We'll see you next week. All right. Follow me on Twitter at WilliamMetro2. And also, watch us on YouTube. All right. We thank you for watching Political Point, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history. Vote Republican. Check us out on the web. Facebook.com/PetePolitical. MySpace.com/PoliticalPoint. Email us at politicalpoints@hotmail.com. mccarpet24@hotmail.com. And also check out my website on the Elmira City Hall Examiner.